Hola and bienvenidos everybody. My name is NittPicc, and if you don't know who I am a flutist and a music educator who enjoys all types of music. So this is exciting today because we're doing something a little different. So we're doing a collaboration today with our friend here, the Pentagenarian. You can say hi.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I bugged NittPicc and said we should do a collaboration. I bumped into her at the Lovebites show in Dallas, and she's fun, she's bubbly, she's giggly. I'm not. So I figured it'd be a good contrast. So I'm gonna give her a song. She's gonna react to that on her channel, and then when she's done with that, then you can go to my channel and see the song that she recommends for me to react to. So she has it queued up already. She wanted to get that done ahead of time. So I have presented to her. Go ahead and tell them I'm forcing you to watch.
So the pronunciation, I just want to make sure it's called Faun.
Faun. The only reason I know that is because Oliver Tier, who is the leader of the band, I saw one of the clips they did for this tour, like the announcement, and he said Faun. So I figured if anybody knows, it's probably the guy who put the band together.
Okay. All right. So then we're listening to Gwydion by Faun featuring Eluveitie, which is actually a group I've actually heard of before, but I've never heard of Faun. So I'm excited to jump into this.
Let her rip. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I want you to experience this the way that I did the first time when I was literally dumbstruck by the time it ended.
Okay. Well, let's get into it.
You can pause it.
Okay, wait. Okay. So many things. So I mean, already I knew, like, I assumed, because if it's featuring Eluveitie, I had a feeling that we were gonna have those, like, either the Celtic instruments or some of our older instruments, like the hurdy-gurdy. I forget it's an Irish field drum. The way you perform it, you hold it sideways.
Right.
And yeah, I've performed with one of those before. I like to play Irish flute jigs. So
okay.
That it brings back memories. But the background music, I wonder, it sounds like it's orchestrally done. Am I crazy? Because I hear like almost as if I'm hearing double bass and cello in the background.
Well, they're doing a lot of tracks, obviously.
Yeah.
But so I mean, you are hearing multiple instruments, and they on their studio albums, they obviously they do extra tracks, so there's probably some backtrack recording there. But
right. Because
so
it's cool.
What'd you think of her voice?
Amazing. Like, because there are two different singers.
Yes.
That I saw, correct? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the color of her voice and the way her voice just soars.
Yeah. The production, the first time she says Gwydion, literally every time I hear that, and I've heard this 100 times, every time I hear that, I get chills because it's like she's summoning something.
Yes. It was all like the immediate sensation of just goosebumps, and like I love cinematography as well, and just seeing the leaves being tossed and hearing her say Gideon and then rising up. Also just the representation of him throwing up leaves and her voice rising up.
Right.
It's just really, it sends it over the edge.
And then I think they call it a yodel, or the ululation that she does on her
Yes.
that I love that. That's one of the things I love about the bands that are doing the modern folk based upon either Germanic or Celtic, is they use that. I don't even, like I said, some people call it a yodel, but that kind of bump in the vocals. Every time I hear that, I'm just like, I love that.
Yes. Yeah, I remember like reacting to, I think it was another video. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was on my Patreon, but I remember researching after watching it. I was like, they do call it a yodel. Like,
Right.
there's a specific term for it, but
Right.
yeah, I want to go back to
Go,
where,
go back wherever you want. You're like I told you, you're in charge of the video.
Also, I remember asking people what this was, and it's a different kind of bagpipe. I think the simplest way I can think of is like the Irish bagpipes or something like that. They're like they're just different. They're built different. And I remember being confused seeing them, but I just think it's interesting. But I do want to go back to that part where
Yep. Chills again, and we just heard it. Right there. That's Oliver. Did it again.
it's so cool to hear that yodel effect, because you pointed it out, and now I'm like, I'm really sucked into that. It's such a like that technique has to be, it has to be a cultural thing, because I've only ever heard like people that understand that kind of music able to do that.
Right.
And I'm wondering, like, how do they learn to do something like that?
Well, I mean,
Really cool.
I'm making an assumption here. You've seen and heard "Zombie" by the Cranberries, right? If
Yes.
if you say no, then we're gonna do that right after this video. So, yeah, but I mean, Dolores O'Riordan, she did the yodel, but she also in that song put in there what's known as an Irish keening, which is the part where she's doing the ho ho. Ho. I mean, every time I hear that, I get choked up. It's like just that sound. I get why they call it keening. You know, it's a sound that the bereaved make at a funeral, and it's like, I get it. You know?
Yeah. Like, what I'm loving about this is the fact that, like, well, okay, I guess if you have any input on this, because since we're sitting here and I actually have someone I can like bounce things off of. So I forgive my ignorance, but so the title, like the name of the song being Gideon,
Mm-hmm.
isn't Gideon another name or something, or it's a name for something, isn't it?
Gideon is a sorcerer that was going to do battle. It's from Welsh mythology. He's a mythical sorcerer that was set to do battle with a demon, or as they call them, daemons, Daemon. And he enchanted a forest and made the trees become his army. So that's his myth. Now, there are some people that say that the figure of Merlin was a derivative of Gideon because there was so much cross-pollination between Welsh folklore and English folklore. It makes sense. I mean, I haven't substantiated that, but to me, it makes sense that you have this mythological figure who animated a forest to do battle with demons, and then you look at the legend of King Arthur, and you have Merlin that literally empowers an army. You know, right. So it's like I can see the parallel, and the reason why it's spelled with a W, as I said, because Welsh is the only language I know that has silent W's.
Yeah. That's something I'm slowly learning, and anytime I see the W, I'm like, Welsh?
Exactly. If there's a W in a messed up spot, it's probably Welsh.
Got it. So yeah, like the main things like my ears are just really drawn to, like earlier when we heard both women's voices together this time,
and
time around.
One comment. I believe that the black-haired vocalist is proof that elves or fey creatures live. Because if you can look at her and tell me that she does not look like she's from a fey creature with her facial features, look at her, and then you're going to be like, oh my God, she's an elf.
Okay. I can definitely see that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so crazy that you point that out. It's funny because like as someone who actually when I joined your Discord server, I thought it was hilarious because I saw that I was like, ooh, Warhammer.
Oh yeah. I'm full on nerd, baby.
Yeah, I was sitting here and I was like, this makes me miss okay, if anyone really like wants to go there, like thinking about elves and stuff, I'm like, man, it makes me miss playing World of Warcraft. We used to put a lot of hours into that game.
Well, all the other things that you saw in there are the groups that I actually I hate to use the terminology, but on the weekends I'm a pro DM, and I actually dungeon master Dungeons and Dragons games. So
I actually just finished a Dungeons and Dragons game a while ago.
There you go. This is why we get along so well. We're both nerds. Yes. Yes. Nerd power.
Yes. Completely agree. But speaking of nerding out, yeah, hearing both female vocalists together.
The harmonies.
So yes, the harmonies, and it's just the way. So obviously the blonde singer, her voice,
Lindsay, I believe is her name.
Lindsay.
I think so.
She is in that just a slightly higher like pitches, right? She's just singing. They're both singing in that harmony, but the way our fey creature, elven looking woman, whatever her name is, I forget.
She's a single name individual because she was brought into the band and she has her own thing going on, but they brought her in. Now she's part of Faun as well.
Awesome. Her depth of her voice is it's warm, it's fuzzy, but in this context there's like power but like pain. There's so much behind that you can hear, and I just need to go back to that a little bit.
So almost a longing is the impression that I got of it.
Yes. I like doing this collaboration because then you can finish my thoughts. Things that I can't get out. This is lovely. Okay, I'm going to start right here.
No. Nope. And we just heard this 30 seconds ago, and I'm going to get chills again. pause it for 1 second? Hit pause, hit pause, hit pause. Hit pause, hit pause. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to tell you, I have to tell you this before it happens. This is not even the mind-blowing part. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say is that, because who have you not seen yet? This is Faun and what band?
Oh, Eluveitie.
So, play on.
Okay. Stop it!
Wait for it.
I thought for a minute, I was like, oh, well, of course, Eluveitie has like all the period instruments, right? And the culturally, like the cultural instruments, but I didn't think that
they'd be bringing in the other half of the band, right?
Yeah. And okay. So is the language they're speaking Welsh?
The language they're singing in, that Eluveitie is singing in, is Welsh, which is funny because they're from Sweden. So you got Swedes singing Welsh, and then the Germans are singing German. I'm just like, that doesn't seem fair.
Oh my gosh, there's something about the language that I like, as someone who, even though I tend to pronounce things wrong, and as some, like, I speak Spanish, but it's one of those things, like, I love languages and I love how the pronunciation, the way the rolling of the R's, the way they're able to roll the tongue.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the low edge on his voice.
Oh yeah. And then when she suddenly comes in, the first time I heard that, I think I started crying. This because I mean just because it's like I call them unplaced emotions. You get a surge of something. You don't know if it's a thrill, but there's something there. It's like you don't know what to do with it, and I start to literally tear up. But when her voice comes in, it's just like, oh my God. So yeah. I'm guessing you're going to want to go back on that one.
Yes. I want that. It feels
perfect.
Yes. And it's like pulling, it's kind of like, so like, I mean, people see me all the time, or now I feel like people now see me more often than I thought.
Right.
But I think about it, and it's like, on the outside, I feel like if this was a representation of a person, the music that we heard before is what I see on the outside, but sometimes what we saw just now is what sometimes can get bottled up inside and gets pulled out.
Right.
And it immediately made me feel like, ooh, we're diving deep somewhere.
I read a breakdown of the song someplace, and what they described it as was the first part is a summoning. When Eluveitie starts in, it's the arrival and nighttime. And then when she kicks in with Eluveitie, it's dawn. And I was like, I could see that. You've got the daylight, you've got the darkness, and then you've got the dawn. So I thought that was an interesting take on it. The first time I heard this, that whole sequence, when he came in and did his his growls, and again went into his lows, and then when she kicked in singing Gideon, I had chills. Like my fingernails had goosebumps on them. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I mean, I understand completely. And this is why I wanted you to watch this. So you go.
Yes. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I love. Like I've always I've loved what I've heard from Eluveitie, but now like hearing Faun themselves, like this is I can't wait to like dive deeper.
Oh, Faun
So
is spectacular. The I'm going to give you a recommendation for your next Faun song, which is called Nine Velten. And I think that's one of those ones that, like, the first time I saw it, I was just like, again, this is phenomenal. And for Halloween, you need to do a reaction to their song called Halloween. So if you can imagine, they call themselves pagan neo-folk. So if you want to take that idea, pagan neo-folk, and then imagine them doing a song for Halloween.
Okay. I would, yeah, that is something I would definitely want to check out. Okay.
Let her rip.
I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start back right here. Just the build up in this moment.
Oh yeah. Love that scream. Here we go, chills. See, Dawn.
No.
And let the titles go. We can talk over the titles. I like showing the titles just so everybody gets credit.
Yeah.
But too short, right?
Wow. Yeah, I didn't expect it to like end that quick. Oh my God. So what?
Use your words.
There are little things that like stick out to my brain just because I don't know if people necessarily notice them or not, but there's the like the I know it sounds silly, but the jingle bells, okay? So, or what we call handbells,
right,
in band. But the use of handbells, like signifying, like it sounds like they're signifying, like when you think of bells, I mean, why do they use them during like the holiday season? Or they're to signify a coming,
right?
Something like
right.
People are always using bells and like Santa Claus is coming to town.
And every time you hear a bell ring, an angel gets its wings.
What movie is that from?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, I love that movie. Anyway, but the fact that you hear that those bells just occasionally, it's like one step at a time, and it just keeps going through the whole song.
This is why I wanted you to listen to it. Because I didn't pick up on the bells.
I think personally I read into things too much, but
or maybe you don't. Maybe you know exactly what's going on.
Well, maybe. But it's just like thinking of that concept there, it creates the sense, because like when you think of stuff like this, we just talked about how Gideon is, you said like well, not, you said fictional character,
Right.
not character, but
He's a mythological figure.
Right. And but if people believe in that mythological figure and the thought of it, the fact that, well, he essentially control or use the forest as his army.
Yes.
So treants, right?
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
they're called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Tolkien
like,
called him.
Yeah, well, yeah. So essentially, like, think about, this is like, it's almost like a call to arms. Like, he's
Right.
the power source. He's, yeah, like you can feel that battle call, that cry.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I was just like, ooh, the bells signifying just that coming, that something's coming, and it just keeps going throughout the song, and the brooding, the just the long tonalities of what, like, obviously the produced sounds underneath,
Right.
but it fills out the sound. We get the cultural instruments, and
Mhm.
like we're in a nice slow 4/4, but we're getting some 16th note patterns. I'm just like,
Yeah, whatever you
blown
say.
away.
This is all you.
I-
4,
yeah,
4, 16,
I'm
7,
like-
16, 9, 16.
So
Yes.
I'm jumping into like some of I just like, I think one of my favorite things in here, besides both Laura and Adaya, their voices mixing together, plus Eluveity's like low grumble into that screaming sound.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. But so like that is all encompassing in this, of course, because we can hear that a lot. But I'm a sucker for instrumentation and instruments. So the melody that we get during the non-vocal sections with the instruments is so gorgeous. It's so pretty. Yeah, I just this is really cool.
And
I'm glad you showed this to me.
And now you have another band to go into a rabbit hole with. I gave you 2 songs to listen to.
I'm so ready.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right. That was great. So as usual, let's continue the conversation about music. What do you think I missed? And what do you like about Faun and Eluveitie with their collaboration here? And let me know what you think about the instrumentation, the both vocalists. And as usual, I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon, morning, or evening. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.